Jade Cargill just said the truth about her AEW experience, and some of you are going to like it and some of you aren't. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what she had to say and why it's so significant. Because Jade Cargill, look, she's come a long way since her early days in AEW. Starting out as a tag team partner for Shaq against Red Velvet and Cody Rhodes, a dominant reign as a TBS champion, ultimately leaving AEW for WWE in late 2023. Since her arrival in WWE, not only is she a bigger star than she was in AEW, but she has continuously gotten better, both as a in-ring worker, a promo, character work, and of course the it factor in which she's always had. She is a star. Whether you like her or you don't, you got to admit that she's a star. And WWE, they've done a very good job in the way that they've booked Jade Cargill. They've taken their time with Jade Cargill, and they've been very precise with her, whether it be her consistent appearance on television before making her debut, meeting with various GMs across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, doing various media interviews talking about how she is ready for the big time in WWE. Her arrival in the Women's Royal Rumble match in January, and of course her pairing with Bianca Belair that led to her WrestleMania debut and 2 reigns as Women's Tag Team Champions. I mean, I would say that's a pretty good start for Jade Cargill. And you knew that she was going to get a significant push, not only due to the star power in which she already had in AEW, but also the fact that they were looking at it like this. It was no different from Cody Rhodes of, all right, we have to prove to AEW talent that if you come to WWE, if you make the big jump, you're going to be okay. You're going to be protected. You're going to be pushed, and we'll try to make you a big star. They've continuously done that, whether that be Brian Pillman, whether that be Ethan Page, and you can go down the list. And I think that trend will continue because for the longest time, it was always WWE talent jumping to AEW and never vice versa. Oh, how the tides have changed. Now, that leads us to today's video because Jade Cargill, she had a very good run in AEW. She was a monstrous heel who had a long reign as TBS champion, a dominant one. A lot of people compared her to Goldberg due to the quick matches in which she dominated, a mystique about her. She didn't speak very often, and she didn't work with necessarily the most elite talent. We never got the Britt Baker match, but she still worked with a lot of notable name talent. Now, she did an interview in which she talked about her experience in AEW. She did the interview with Hot 97, and she reflected on a trial by fire experience that she had. And she highlighted the lack of guidance she received upon entering the industry with AEW. She said, I didn't really have a direction. I didn't know how a heel was supposed to act. I was just myself. She acknowledged that she ultimately received substantial support from numerous people like CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, who continued to offer valuable counsel and direction. Most notably, Bryan Danielson. He was instrumental in facilitating her growth during her tenure with AEW. That is insane. The fact that she did not know how to be a heel and no one really taught her how to in terms of upper management. She was just trial by fire. And I think when you look back on her AEW run, I think you need to keep that in mind. She is still very, very early on in her AEW or her wrestling tenure, let alone her AEW experience. She's very green. She's still new. She's still learning how to work. She's learning how to do character work. She's supposed to learn the psychology of wrestling, everything like that. You have to realize that. You have to see that, and you have to admit that when we're talking about Jade Cargill. Whether you're a supporter, like myself, or whether you are a quote-unquote hater, or you like to criticize her just because it's Tuesday, right? Like, that's just what people sometimes do. It's very weird. When it comes to Jade Cargill's AEW run, they had to protect her in a lot of ways. But as you can see here, they also did not protect her. Look, the glory days of the territory days where the boys rode in the car and you talked about wrestling for 4 or 5 hours as you made the towns every single night, well, those are over, right? And that's a good thing, and that's also a bad thing. I think you do need the older statesmen, the older women, to come around and go, hey, young fella, hey, young woman, let me show you how it's done. This is what you need to be doing. And while she did have some guidance, it's much different, right? Because WWE, they have this model much more than they used to. But in her time in AEW, they had Dynamite, and that was it. They had one TV a week. If you were lucky, you would work dark matches. Now, she did work dark matches, AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, in which you did a series of TV tapings once a month, twice a month, whatever it may be. But you were not around other talent that often unless you went out of your way. And you went and you trained by yourself, or you hung out, or you called them, or you Zoomed, or whatever. So in that very important stage of her career in her life, Jade Cargill did not get the same experience as talents beforehand, right? Now, obviously, AEW has changed in a lot of ways. You have Dynamite, Rampage, same nights, and then you have Collision. They're doing monthly pay-per-view events, right? And so at least you're on the road more often, and at least you're around other talents more often, where you can ask them questions where it's much more easy, right? WWE, they pretty much run the same schedule. You got your Raws, your NXTs, your SmackDowns, and really they've scaled back on live events. So it's still the same, but she's at least on the road more than she was in the early days of AEW. Time and experience, that is very valuable to all of us, including pro wrestlers, where you have to be able to gravitate towards others and learn towards others, and that's what Jade Cargill had to do. Jade Cargill also had to know that this is how you work as a heel. And then, by the way, this is how you work as a babyface, and you work them very differently, right? Heels, they carry the matches. Babyfaces usually follow the direction of the heel. The heel dominates most of the matches, and the babyface makes a comeback, and then you usually go back and forth. Near falls, you build up the drama, you build up the anticipation, and then you get your ultimate climax of the finish. That's usually the layout of most matches. That's why I've always thought with longer matches like WWE main events, they stretch out the heat for like 10 minutes. And it's like, you can just cut 10 minutes out of this match. You could get all that heat within 5 minutes. So say like a match went, a typical Roman Reigns match, it goes 30 minutes. Well, you can cut 10 minutes out of that because all he's going to do is just get heat. And it's like, it kind of plotting, kind of draws out the match. It's not as good, right? Like, you can just cut that out. But they insist on doing that. It's the little things that you learn. It's the little things in which they have to pick up, and Jade Cargill is no different. And that's what she was able to do in AEW. She's used that experience. She's been able to put it into full effect in WWE, and I think she's so much better off for being able to experience something outside of a WWE, get that experience of knowing, okay, this is what you do outside of the company that you can implement in WWE, and this is also something you can do out of the company that you probably shouldn't implement in a WWE system. And I think Jade Cargill is so much